I'm worried about the future. There were already getting to be a lot of robots at this conference.
I hate them. I am not a fan. I don't know if people are like me, but I'm enraged when a company does that.
Welcome to another edition of Hank Goes and Works at a Conference and Gonto's traveling in Europe somewhere, slacking off.
This was the first time, though, that I was in the Alps in Europe having FOMO for the conference. So I told Twix that next year I'm gonna go to his conference. On the rest, it's like I'm fine. I can miss them, but this one was really good.
Yeah. So we're gonna do one of our favorite formats here. If you can watch on video, this will be way better. First, I'm going to show a bunch of pictures and some videos of the conference. This is one of my, while I was there, I was like, okay, this is a new can't miss conference for me. So every year I go to React Miami, which now has AIE Miami combined with it. AWS reInvent, I think, is another conference I can't miss. And now this one too. So I'm like, okay, those are like my 3, 4 nights away from home that I think I have to do for work now because they're the best. They're like right in the ICP of all the companies I work with. And if you're in Devtool marketing, those are the big ones.
I used to feel the same on AWS reInvent, but I think it got too big. I don't feel like that anymore. And I'll challenge your React Miami versus NextConf. Like, to me, NextConf is more important to go. Different vibes, of course. I feel that React Miami is more fun, and NextConf is more serious. But I don't know. But I do agree on the AI engineering one.
That might be fair. I guess the vibe difference is... So Next.js Conf is very, very centered around one thing. It's very centered around, and front end. Maybe Vercel is becoming more of a better replacement. I don't know. That's interesting. I need to think on my opinion on that. If you've got an opinion, leave it in the comments. Okay. But the reason I like those other 3 conferences is, one, so like React Miami is small. You actually get to interact with a lot of people there. You can make friends and connections. reInvent, while the opposite. I mean, it's got over 100,000 people. If you do it right, you can really carve out some interesting corners. And that's what I found when I went last year. It's like, oh, you can really find some interesting side events and carve it out. And also, I just think for a company, if you're marketing, like that expo floor is like, it's a shopping mall for people who want to buy software. And so even if people at reInvent aren't your ICP, whereas like I had this talk with some people who are at AIE, and they're like, wow, it's amazing. There are 7,000 people here, and they're all my ICP. That's fantastic for that expo. And people are just shopping in the expo. They want to find solutions. At reInvent, even if only 1 in 10 people are your ICP, that's 10,000 people.
It's huge.
Just the raw numbers of it help.
But the hard part, I think, of AWS reInvent is there's so many companies. It's really hard to be noticed. AIE is big, but not as big yet, which means I think it's a better investment because easier to be noticed, less companies, and more hand-holding from Swix and the rest of the team.
Yes, and what a great segue here. First off, shout out Swix, Sean. He created this whole cloth from nothing like 2 years ago. And it's very impressive. I went to the first one when it was like 2,000 people. Getting 2,000 people there was impressive. But anyways, I walked the floor with him, and we actually, I had him record a little video for us. Mr. Sean, Swix, we're here at a booth you said you like. Why do you like it?
So I obviously spend a lot of time working with people on their booth presence and conference appearances, and I want them to succeed. I think that a lot of people are very tired when they do booths. They just want to, it's a lot of work already to just show up. But to show up and then do well, I think everyone needs the guidance and needs a few short prompts examples.
And he talks about one of his favorite booths. He can't pick a favorite, by the way, because, you know, they're all his favorites because he sold them to the sponsors. But what'd you think?
But I think he did a good job of explaining what the booth is about, why he liked it. And also he talked a lot about how he's hands-on helping the companies do a better booth, which I don't think is true for any other company.
Very true. So I did it. Oh, man, where is my... I don't know where my comic is, but I've got a comic. It made me look like a superhero. It was cool. The kids loved it. I'll also share this fun fact. We're going to look at some other booths. I went and got, because I know a bunch of the field marketers, I polled everybody on how many leads they actually got, you know, to be on the floor. I'm not going to share all those numbers, but I will say Together AI got the most. And I was curious about that. And I think it's a combo of the location, but also the gimmick. The gimmick is just good.
On this one thing I'll say is it depends on the conference. Like I've done in some conferences where in the booth I do demos or I speak, and I've done others. And in some, it's very popular because people want to go to the demos. They know your brand and they want to learn and they want to go to listen from somebody. In other conferences, people are like, fuck it, they will sell me something and I won't go. So to me, it's very interesting to understand also which conferences, like maybe AIE, people do go to demos to listen to what's going on and stuff like that, and not just to the fun part. I always thought that the fun uniqueness, the comic, in this case, makes a difference. But maybe in AIE, you can also do actually the serious part with demos and people will go.
Yeah, I think definitely both win. Both together is obviously the best. Okay.
Yeah.
Unserious thing. There are a few products positioning this picture is terrible, but this is the best picture I had of these. Not this guy. This guy, he looks cool though. This guy. I mean, this guy looks cooler than this guy. But no, we had people like cosplaying as orcs because orchestration is it's a new term, and so people are naming products after it. Shout out orc.ai, which I'm helping out. The cosplayers, these two guys were aggressive. They had different ones the first day that I thought were better and like easier to chat with. These two guys were like aggro and kind of scary. Like they would come up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you about Orchestrator," and you're like, "Chill, dude."
Were they engineers or they were actors?
No, they're just people. They're just people, I think.
Okay.
I didn't really give them that much attention.
Okay. Because to me, it's just interesting to understand if they're engineers who are actually dressing up and you can talk to them, or if they are just actors who are there. Like, I would actually enjoy if they are engineers because they can have a real conversation with you, and that would be crazy, but fun.
They might have. I should have talked to them more, but I just, I didn't take the time. Okay. AWS had these little robots going around. You could scan them and get something inside. It was an interesting gimmick. There were other this is the first. I'm worried about the future. There were already getting to be a lot of robots at this conference. There was a robot dog walking around. There was a little one of the little humanoids would walk around and dance.
I hate them. I went to the AI Summit recently in Colombia, and similarly, there were too many fucking robots. There were the ones that danced, the ones that were used by a human and you shake and stuff like that. And some of them would just not let you go past them. I don't know. They are noticeable, but I am not a fan. I don't know if people are like me, but I'm enraged when a company does them. It's like, fuck them. I don't want to learn more about them.
The thing is, there are people who do want to learn them, and they're the people like building robots and OS and stuff. So, yeah. Okay. This is the best picture I had of the agent open. Shout out Mohan, and there's Morgan. The best picture I got of her.
Yes.
This was awesome. I don't know if you heard about this. This was a side event, like 4 or 5 companies combined. So like Llama Index, Modal, Brain Trust, of course, was the ringleader, Browserbase, and maybe one or two others. And they just took this alley, they filled it up with pickleball courts, and they had a full-on tournament. Every once in a while, they would have a panel. It was awesome. There were drinks, there was a fruit stand, and
That's awesome. I love the idea. And this is, I think, what Mohan and Morgan do great, which is creativity. They are very creative, especially with their events. And I think they are always ringleaders. They are good at bringing others in and not just doing them solo. So they're a creative brain, but they invite other brands to use the people that they know so that they all know brain trust after that. I think that's what they are both really good at. So I'm not surprised they did something as fantastic as this.
yes, it was very well received. Their outfits were great. Every staffer had, the white outfit. It was good. And by the way, I also got some numbers from people on side events. This generated about double the top booth that I heard from. So
Oh, wow.
this got twice as many leads. Now it took, more investment and time. And were the leads as interested or whatever? I don't know. Some other side events I don't have pictures of, but there was a Vercel side event that also did, in the multiple thousands of leads captured. Ingest had an office right across the street from the Moscone Center.
Yeah.
So they just had something going on there every day. And Ingest also did, I don't have a picture of their stuff. Maybe I'll find it. We'll insert it. But there were a few companies that did these car wraps, and they would just have several cars driving around the block. And people also had those big vans with LED screens. That's a whole new thing.
I did see a lot of the bands with the LEDs on Twitter as well. They're like Vegas vibes. And these I haven't seen before. In the past, I've seen companies sponsor cabs or taxis in New York, so in a specific area, so that if they are around the conference, they would show up. But this idea of having special cars and the trucks, I actually like more the cars than the LSD trucks, just because I think the LSD trucks are a bit tacky, and this looks cool, and it's a nice way to be shown.
These do look cool. Ingest did it better because these are just, this is like an H1 from a website. There's no design or interesting thing here. Ingest did 4 unique designs. They were all kind of interesting or joke, and what I was most curious about, and shout out to Lauren at Ingest for doing a post on this. She was also came to the Code to Market Ski Summit. She talked about how she did these and she didn't really think they would bring anything. And I'm a huge hater of out of home physical marketing for software at the early
I love it.
She was telling me that it was actually bringing leads. People were saying, I saw the car and I checked out Ingest and now I'm trying the thing.
I've had that with multiple companies. With Brain Trust, for example, in the early days, there was a lot of people who were like, I saw your buses or I saw your billboard and that's why I checked it out.
I hate it. I hate that I'm getting proven wrong about this. And also, I'll give just a random shout out to Browser Base, because I'm advising them. I was like, don't do the out of home, and they just spent a bunch on buses. But one thing that's good to do, which Lauren did, and that's how I learned about her cars, is they're tweeting about it and posting about it, and they're making content out of it, which is interesting. And so that's a way to get extra mileage out of the out of home stuff.
That's literally what Browser Base did in the past with the plane, where they had the plane go around the CEF. That one, I fucking loved it. And then they did tweets based off of that. You should always do that on your out of home. But I don't know, I'm a big believer in out of home. As long as they are creative or something new, like these cars or trucks, I think they work because they are new, people don't see them before, and they're like, holy shit, what is this thing that is going around this conference?
Another out of home insight I got was from Cognition. They did a whole campaign on Devin is good now, or Devin is actually good
That one
now.
I saw it.
And a lot of people are filling out on the form, like, the onboarding form, like, how'd you hear about us? They're saying, oh, I saw your billboard and I thought I got to try this, especially in their startup program, apparently.
I talked yesterday to one of my customers about that specific billboard. What I really like about it is I always tell companies that they should focus first on activation, because if you get a lot of people like awareness and acquisition and somebody tries your product and they hate it, it's really, really hard to get them back. Because doing reactivation after they churn, people are like, no, I tried it, I don't want to try it out. People typically only come back when they have a friend or somebody saying like, look, you should check it out again. But the self-deprecating humor of, look, we sucked, but now we're good, I actually think it might get people to come back. So I was inspired and I want to try it out with one of the companies that I'm working with.
Yeah. Great. All right, moving forward. Just +1 to all that. Okay, so back to praising Swix. Just for the fun of it, he set up this music corner, which, people would just come up here and jam out, and anybody could do it. Gabe,
he did that because he loves music. Like, I don't know if you ever saw him on karaoke. Like, he's incredible.
Yes, I have seen him at karaoke at React Miami, and I missed it, but apparently he was jamming out with Gabe from G2I was on the drums, and Sean was on the mic, and they had some other people like jamming out on day 0 or day -1 or something. So that was cool. There was a puppy corner. Now this puppy corner, I've seen it around before, and the thing I don't like about it is it's all about you can't really brand it much. So you can see BrowserBase kind of tried because they sponsored it for this day, and they had the little bandanas, and that was fun.
I actually didn't even see the bandanas until you mentioned them.
Yep.
Like, I would have thought that the sponsor was a company that had food for dogs, maybe. So probably not a really good sponsorship.
Lindsay at BrowserBase she was like, can I get you guys to wear shirts or one of our red vests? And they're like, no. Can we put up a banner? No. Like, they were they're not very strict with how the puppies are, held or whatever, but they're very strict about their branding, I guess. And I was talking to our friend, Kevin Van Gundy, who's now at DigitalOcean, and he was like, yeah, my CFO kind of wanted to fight him and do this. And I was like, you should have done it and got all the puppies shark outfits, because that would have been fun. That actually would have been a great social media moment. And BrowserBase got some social media moments out of it, so maybe that was worth it. All right, moving on. Another fun thing, they set up just a board game area. Terrible picture of it, but they had like a dozen tables with puzzles and board games, pretty much everything you could think of. Cool. So this is just some cool conference atmosphere stuff.
What I like about that is that in most cases, when I go to a conference, most of the talks are not good. And are not good for me because I'm more of an advanced person. So most of the talks in a conference are typical for beginners. So when I go to a conference, it's never for the talks. It's more about the people are going to meet, the friends that are going there, getting to talk to the speakers and learn from them. And I think having these things like music or games or stuff like that are just different ways to allow me to connect to other people with my passions or my hobbies that are not a talk. So I think doing some of these in a conference is really, really smart, because it basically is a more natural and fun way to network with people, which I think should be the objective of most conferences.
I agree. Yeah, and I didn't play any games or do any puzzles, but I did sit at a couple of those tables for like a few hours just chatting to people. Okay. Here's something You saw this already? Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, I have a video of it.
The reptile. It's the reptiles, right? Yeah.
It's Greptile. It's,
Yeah.
it's people dancing. It's a flash mob. It was very silly, very weird, but it got a lot of attention. And lots of people were like, who's this? Is this Griptile? Like, they were kind of talking to each other more about it.
At least it worked with me. Like, I knew Code Rabbit. I didn't know Reptile. And after seeing this on Twitter, not even in the conference, like it blew up on Twitter too, I was like, okay, who are they? So now I know what Reptile does thanks to doing this. So if it worked with me, it probably worked with others too.
It worked. Okay, here's another thing. This is more common at like international conferences. Apparently, Swix was telling me about these, but they just had a bunch of posters, and some of them were fun. Sometimes people would stand in front of them and like present. Yeah, I know. I was like very curious about it. And
who posts a poster? You have to pay to post a poster, or you could just do it?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. There was like
so it's another sponsorship opportunity.
Yeah. So just an interesting thing. Okay. Here's our our second booth thing. There was somebody with BattleBots. Who was this even? I don't remember who it was.
This I love it.
Their branding was somewhere, but it was fun. It got a lot of attention every day.
I love it. Anecdotes unrelated to this. Like in my high school, to get kids to learn programming and robotics, they actually do a battle of robots where you need to build your own robot with 2 more friends. And if your robot wins the tournament, you don't have to do any exams and you just pass the subject as an incentive to actually do this. And I think in conferences, there could be a way where you do something fun like a tournament and the winner gets something very special as well. But I love it. I used to watch the TV show for the robots that fought to each other when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. BattleBots. It's still going.
BattleBots, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here was another cool thing. Every day, they had a unique newspaper. And this is like...
Wow.
It's like a legit newspaper. And they just put them on tables around, and they had a newsstand. And it would have... Like, the front page was always, like, interesting articles. Some of them I feel like we'd seen before. Yeah, but like some of them were like old posts from Swix, I think, or other people. But it was interesting.
I think that's smart.
Content.
I would add something to this. Like, if you have the time, I would add stuff from the conference. So on second day, you talk about the highlights from day 1, or you give maybe a script. And I think since you have the talks from before, you could pre-plan this on like nice talks, interesting nuggets and interesting things. So I would probably make, if I were doing a conference, make this based on the content from the conference versus something else, leveraging that you have early access to all of that.
I can't say for sure that they didn't do that. It's a good idea. They might have done that. I didn't stop to read the newspaper. Okay. One thing that was interesting, I haven't really seen this before. Not this.
You haven't seen Cynthia before?
You'll see on the next slide. Shout out Cynthia. Oh man, the hat game is out of control. So model and training, funny hat. But
that's awesome.
She told me she's at RunLayer now, and she told me that lots of people were actually coming to the booth and saying, "Oh, I didn't know what this was, but you're on my lanyard, so what are you?" So that was interesting. What I find more interesting is some companies. Here's our friend Hassan.
They had their own lanyard.
They made their own lanyard for their team and brought them. And they aren't the only people who did that. Oh wait, no, they are the only people who did that. But I love the idea. I was like, I'm gonna do that for any team I'm working with now. That's great.
I like it too. I don't know how many people notice it, but I like it. I have paid lanyards in the past, and I've had success in some cases and not success in others. But the lanyard is actually better than having your logo on the card with your name. At least that's been at every conference that I've done.
That's very true. But speaking of, one thing I was thinking about is, people should design stickers specifically to put on their if you're a sponsor, I feel like you should make a sticker just to put on your badge.
I don't like that as much. My feeling, as you know, with the badges is it's very hard to read who they are, and it looks very awkward when I'm like looking down and trying to read who the fuck you are. So actually, I think a good gift or a good thing would be something that's funny and unique that shows who you are. Maybe that you put it in here. It's like, look here, this is who I am, or something like that. Like a special or different type of lanyard. I always feel awkward looking down.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, and we'll come back to this when we look at a future booth, but Lang Fuse did a good job. They were acquired by ClickHouse, and they're doing a good. It was a ClickHouse booth, but it was a Lang Fuse booth. But they're doing a good job with the like, hey, like this is part of ClickHouse, another brand you know and love. Blah blah blah. I liked the vest idea too, because I hate that. I was wearing a shirt for a booth that I was helping out with. And it's like, okay, do I need a new this is like a 3-day conference. Like, I'm not wearing the same shirt every day. So did you get me 3 shirts? But I like the vest solution, because you can wear a vest 3 days in a row and you're not gonna become a stinky engineer, right?
And what I like in this case is like it makes it look like a construction worker. And I think this idea of agent evaluator in this case actually looks good as a construction worker.
Yes. And ClickHouse is like this yellow color, so it's all on brand.
Did Angelica go to the conference? Did you see her?
No. Unfortunately, no. So cool. So anyways, there's that. Now we're looking at booths. So this is kind of your standard booth, whatever.
Yeah.
I took a picture of this booth because I was like, this booth, I think it kind of stinks. You have to be able to see.
It's more than it stinks, because when I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is a booth from the AIE conference. And then you look beyond and it's like, oh, it's from another conference. So it's more than it stinks. It's like you can't even notice the company.
Yeah. I will say this AIE square was on every table, so you wouldn't be too confused.
Okay.
But yeah, you were like, okay, I see a nondescript logo, and then I have to look at this. And, yeah. Here's some swag from Browser Base. They're promoting their event, so they had these little like boarding passes in there, and just kind of a passport looking thing. Interesting swag, different. And if you're a stationary person, great. Oh, here's the stinking. I put these out of order.
The comic.
Here's the comics.
The comics looks incredible.
Thank you, Lily, whoever you are. But pretty sick. It's really cool. And the back of it is a brochure, as Swix told us. Okay, this worked. This is the booth I was helping out with. This worked way better than I thought it would. Just a raffle for an NVIDIA Spark.
It works because it's a Spark.
Yes, but
that's the only thing. The only reason why it worked.
Yeah, but it worked, and out of like all the numbers I got of booth registrations, I mean, this is like the simplest, most straightforward. You don't have to be super creative. It's just like, yeah, raffle something away, especially if it's relevant to the group, and they'll come for it. Yeah, I think so too. Like, don't be giving away water bottles, you know? Okay, Reducto, big booth. Shout out Adele, who I've worked with before. I don't know. I don't think there's much to comment on here. I'm just showing booths now. Oh, shout out Nevius, my highest performing stock of the year. That's all I got for that. I think we have some friends there. Their booth was not that active. Okay, Akamai. This one, it's Akamai.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Akamai's here. My favorite thing, they had some fun hats in my Agentic era. they also had these bracelets, and the one that cracked me up was AI Baddie.
They're like friendship bracelets.
They're like friendship bracelets.
Was people there? Because Akama is very old school. Like, were they able to get people to check it out and learn what it was?
Oh, yeah. They had a fantastic location, and because of their swag, I think people were talking to them all day, every day. It was pretty good. And this team was fun. You know, the team was like clearly marketers. You know,
Yep.
a lot of the booths.
Oh,
like
they didn't have engineers?
the Orc AI booth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they did, but like, it was more clearly a marketing booth. You know, you can tell when you're walking around a conference,
Yes.
like, okay, that's a group of engineers. Like the Orc AI booth, it was like, that's a bunch of engineers. They're giving away a Spark. They've got something to talk to me about. Like, I'll have some conversation. And like the laying fuse one was like a bunch of that. Whereas this booth, it's like, these guys are doing marketing.
Yeah.
They have stuff. Like, that's why I will talk to them. I'm not going to get as much info.
I think it's a worse.
At least that was the impression I had. I didn't really try to talk to them.
I think if you have a conference booth, I would actually have both. I would have one marketer, so they get everything working correctly in the booth, everything works, everything is in shape, and then mostly engineers. One thing I actually tried once and worked really well was I also brought one SDR, because the engineers are very shy to talk to people. So what we did was we had the SDR just luring people in and not chatting with them and just bringing those people to talk to engineers internally. That's probably my favorite mix.
The goal of your SDR, your salesperson, is to get the other person to ask a technical question.
That's
and
it.
Go, oh,
Yeah,
let me introduce you to Jake. You know,
exactly.
okay. Here's the browser-based booth. I did like, this was at Reducto too, but like they had just these nice like swag displays over here.
That's cool.
Um,
But it's a common,
Different
it's a
people
regular
use-
booth. It's not like a unique or different booth.
correct. There was they had like a podcast set up. I don't know if I'm sharing that picture. Nope, I don't have that picture. They did have the podcast set up. WorkOS was there with their podcast
Like
set
always.
up, which we've talked
Yeah.
about before. And it works. Okay, here's one I wanted to compare to Langfuse. Just first off.
Yeah, they're competitors.
But what's interesting is like I just felt like it was much harder to know that this was part of Langchang. And I was like standing by this booth for a little while before I realized, oh, this is Langchain. I just thought it was another new company. Whereas like with Langfuse, it's got the buy click house, and I think people resist putting the like buy whoever under there, but I do think it's important if like you have to build your main brand.
And it's different.
Because now a bunch of people.
But it's different in both cases, because in one case, ClickHouse bought Langfuse. In this case, Langchain is the company, it's open source, and they built Langsmith on top as a product. It's not something they bought. Still, I agree with you that it's unnoticeable.
Yeah.
On your scoops.
Base 10 had ice cream.
This is really smart.
That's the pun.
I like it.
Yeah, everyone was like, you know, I had a couple people ask me, where's the ice cream? And I was like, oh, base 10, go that way.
This is smart.
So that was pretty.
Everybody wants ice cream. And I like the game of words as well.
Yes. And then, I don't know, just an ordinary booth.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cynthia.
Yeah, we didn't like it,
Wasn't
Cynthia.
that great. She wasn't in charge of it. She will claim that she didn't do it. But now pressure on for the next one, now that you're in charge.
Exactly.
Okay. Those are all my photos.
Give me what is your thoughts on the conference per se? 1 to 10. How well was it organized? How were the booths? Like, how do you think about it?
Well, so first I'll start with the caveat, which is I didn't go to a single talk. Like
Okay.
I didn't watch anything. But I know the standard distribution of a thing like this. I will say Swix has a reputation of being more selective with the talks.
Yes.
But when you have that many, I'm like, okay,
It's impossible.
Even if you skew it toward better, like the standard distribution still applies, I assume. And I heard some good things and some okay things about talks, whatever. So that caveat aside, the setup and the venue and the way that, like, the Moscone West is, I think, the best building for a conference of this size, because it puts the expo first, and then all the content's on the upper floor. There was plenty to do. There was definitely, like, something of interest on the expo floor for everybody. I think from a marketing perspective, if you're selling to people doing anything in AI, I think you have to be here. And I think this is like, there's a bunch of satellites, which you should selectively pick, some of those based on vibes or who your audience is. But I think as a marketer, this is the best one.
Yeah, and the satellites are, I don't know the word in English, franchises. Like, they are not organized by Swix. He gives them to other organizers. I think he only does London.
It's a mix. So
okay.
he actually does 4 of them, I think. And then there's satellites. So like AIE Miami is a partner run. And then he owns New York and a couple others. Maybe London or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really good. I don't know how to rate it out of 10. I like it for its own reasons. It's its own thing. It's very good.
I do agree with you that if you're like in the past, if you were selling a SaaS, you had to be an AWS reInvent. I don't think that's true anymore because it's too big. But now I agree with you. If you're selling anything related to AI, you have to be on the SF AI World Fair. There's no other option.
Here's the difference, despite what I said about why you should be at reInvent before, because like reInvent will have more of your IC, no matter who your ICP is. reInvent will just have more of them. However, on the expo floor, 1 in 10 people who walk by your booth at reInvent will be relevant, and so you're going to have to talk to a lot more people to get a good result. And you're going to talk to a lot of bad leads, and you're going to have to give away a lot of swag to people who don't care. Here, I mean, one of the field marketers I talked to, I was like, how's the booth going? She's like, Hank, this is amazing. I've never had a conference where 100% of people are my ICP. Everyone we talk to is relevant to our product, and like we can probably do something for them.
So I enjoy, like, as somebody who hasn't been to this event and I have FOMO, I actually really enjoy these episodes because we get to learn about not just the booth, but what were the marketing tactics, what were the things what were people doing, what worked, what didn't work. If you like it, leave us in the comments and we'll continue doing them. But yeah, we're open to your thoughts, but thank you, Hank, for going and sharing all of this interesting stuff.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll do it together next year. We'll do some, Swix offered for us to do like a podcast from one of the things. They had a podcast area. He's like, you should record some content there. I was like, I don't have Gonto, What am I supposed to do without Gonto?
Next year I'm going for sure. So maybe we can do something.
All right. Well, awesome. Welcome back. Hope everybody enjoyed this. I hope you guys watched this on video. If not, I want to know what your experience was audio only.
And go back and watch it with video again so that you can compare them.
Yes. You should watch it 2 times on both YouTube and Spotify and compare the video qualities, etc.
Minimum.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.